And good afternoon and good evening. So wherever you guys are joining for the session. And first of all, so thanks for this great opportunity, the organizer teams. So it's one of the fantastic the event today. So it's a privilege to share my knowledge and connect with the people here. So this is actually one day event. So hope you guys know, like, so be attentive so that at the end of the session you will get the amazing the prize as usual. So that there may be a quiz. So please answer and win the exact prizes, which is already displayed over here. So I'm Shanthababu Pandian. I have around 23 of experience in IT industry. So my topic is going to be like the governing the Microsoft Fabric with Microsoft Purview and implementation. So this is not going to be like the kind of we are going to launching some rocket or something like that. So here I'm planning to connect with what exactly the Fabric and Purview. Purview actually we have discussed many events earlier. Now we are connecting these dots with the Fabric and Purview and how it is like beneficial for us with respect to dealing the data. That's a very important thing. Um, so all now started. So far, so straight away we'll get into that, taking the fabric and explaining that and getting into that the power view, so that connecting the points. Before that, I want to make sure that something why we need all these components and all these demonstrations very important, like across the globe. So if you look at that, all the customers, any domain, any organization, so they understood the essence of the importance of the data last 10 years, I would say. So the data-driven transformation, significant benefits that people are started understanding. So potentially there are the four main factors. So which like mainly increasing the revenue, the performance, and then faster the time to market for them, and ultimately the profit and result to be enhanced. And most important point is the customer satisfaction. So because based on the data, doing insight analysis, all this thing like applying all the stuff, collecting the data, it could be structured data, unstructured data, whatever it is. So collecting the data and storing in appropriate spaces in our like Microsoft familiar one. So I'm with the Microsoft technologies working with that the tools from when I started my career. So these guys are giving a phenomenal product in the market based on the demand as well as like the sustainability for enhancing their what is that like the significance and adapting with the market speed. So these four factors really helping the customers to do that with the data driven transformation signification benefits. So this is actually given by the Harvard Business Review. They are given the statements like how much percentage of the individual the components. That's fine. When we are dealing with the data, collecting the data, and we're storing the data, and we are finding the insight, and we are doing a lot of the analysis, that's fine. But on top of that, we need to do the governance, because if I have the data in my storage, I have to have that the underlying statement, who's supposed to use, how supposed to use, when supposed to use, and all this strategy we need to plan. And same time, I have to plan for my strategies. So it's going to be a defensive strategy or offensive strategy to make sure that my data is supposed to be precisely like to secure the data for my own purpose. That's very important. And even if we are doing the project for customer, so that's our responsibilities to make sure that the data, like what purpose we are looking for that, focusing on gaining the insight about the customer needs and integrate the customer market data and planning for like a future business goals, how to attain that, and supporting the sales and marketing, how to set up the pipelines, etc. So the same way we have the defensive perspective as well. We have some set of things like a focused and detecting the mitigation of risk frauds, because if the data has been thefted or leaked out, that's really big offensive, right? So we need to take care of that, how to control all the activities. That's very important. And same way we have the so many regulatory in the case of UK GDPR, HIPAA, PII, so many things are there, so we need to align with that. So we have to play on the data. So all these things we need to understand, because collecting the data is one headache and storing the data is another one. And on top of that, we need to give the secure on the data is another one of the main challenging. And how we are going to do that one day, that's a very important thing. So that's why actually we are connecting here today. So the Microsoft, obviously, they're always like they're enhancing the product in different perspective, because actually when I started my career, Visual Basic 4, I believe. Now we are in Microsoft Fabric and Purview, like a connectivity, how the things. So I'm really enjoying this journey entirely. That's a very important thing. So these specific thing, how the Microsoft addressing and how they're helping us to enhance the business. That's a very important. The Microsoft Fabric. So try to understand this one basically. So I'm assuming like the audience might be they're very new to this fabric and all this jargon. So that I want to give us some flavor on that. Then we'll connect to this, because the implementation stage is not a big deal, because it's a steps. So we need to follow since the Microsoft the Azure environment is user friendly. Anybody can, like, once you are familiar with that the steps flow, everything, then directly we can go and configure wherever you want to write a small scripts. We can execute that. That's very important. So Micro Fabric is an amazing one, because like the few years back we had a data factory separately, Synapses we had a separate environment. We worked on that, but there's a complete combo pack of things actually the Microsoft provided as a form of fabric. So it consists of a data factory, data engineering perspective, and data warehouse, data science, and real-time intelligence, and Power BI and data activator. There are so many facilities actually power packed the SaaS foundation which they're built. So why we need is all those things. Already we had so many things. Actually, we have a data factory. We have so many components in it. But this specific fabric, access to the extensive range, because actually the industrial use cases are day by day got increasing. So that we need to scale up, scale out, scale down. Not never is going to be scale down based on the experience. So it's going to be scale up, and we need to enhance the performance as well. So in that perspective, the fabric really helping us to extend the range of industrial use cases, and easy to access and readily reusable all assets. That's a very important thing. And unified data lake storage. Once the data lake storage come into the picture, our job is really easy, and like is a kind of cakewalk, because earlier we had so many things like a structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data, all those headache will be there. I am keep on telling the headache. It's not a headache. Actually, it's a challenging, interesting piece of work. So probably it's going to be a very important thing. Once the the data lake is coming to the picture, so we are very happy to work with that. Entirely, it's totally different journey. And centralized administration and governance across. That is a very important duty, because if you take any project, any analytics project, there might be a different roles. Could be like a data engineers or data analyst, and the data scientists and machine learning engineers, and my Power BI developers, everybody. But when you go with this fabric, ultimately everybody going to be the same umbrella, so that the work together, it will be really very collaborative, and like in one place we can taking the source and we are playing with that. So that's a complete integration with respect to the fabric is amazing stuff. So this is a key feature. Already I'll go through that. So data integration, absolutely we can do that. Data engineering perspective, do all the data preparation, transformation, cleaning, and making easier to understand the data engineers for building the Middle Eastern architecture. For example, the data could be a raw data. We need to convert into as a silver, and like further move into like a golden data set. So all these aspects we can enhance the data set as it is, as we need for customer requirement. We can build that data. So where we store that, ultimately we can store with the use of the data warehouse. So if it is going to be a completely SQL server, means we need to create structured data table, etc. But when I'm using a data warehouse, so ultimately it can manage any kind of data set. It could be like a structure or unstructured. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, the data scientists also play around with that, because the data is available nearby. They can take the data, they can play around to put the algorithm, they can do the predictive analytics, clustering, whatever they can. And coming to the real-time analytics, of course, like it's a very fabulous, and we can do that. And business intelligence, I'm really happy, because actually this Power AI completely packed with that, so that the way to like extracting the data and building the KPIs using the simple format of the Power BI. Power BI most robust now, probably like because even we can demonstrate our machine learning algorithm in Power BI as well. So that way actually they enhanced well and best. That's very important. So quickly we understood like what exactly the fabric. It's a combination of it's a combo. So we can collect the data, we can store the data, we can clean up the data, and we can make the data as a silver, bronze, and golden data set. We can build ready with for any kind of analysis. That's fine. Data is available. Then what is next? Obviously, we need to give the security. So when you look at that, the architecture, when you look at that any architecture point of view, we need to provide we need to provide data security, data governance, and we need to understand like how we are going to secure the data. That's very important. So who is giving that the push up? That's a Microsoft providing the Purview. The Purview is a comprehensive data governance, risk management, and complete solution, which is really taking care of all these aspects. So before that Purview, so really it was very challenging for us because we used to note it down everything in Excel sheet, and we want to understand, for example, data lineage means then we need to understand where the data is changed, how the data has been changed, or what are the changes like we are implemented. All the things we have to note it down, and we record it as a part of our activity. But now our Purview helping us to do a lot of exercise easily way to understand and do all this stuff. And it offers a data discovery and cataloging and classification very effective manner, so that our job is very easy. So if you look at that architecture, ingestion layer and preparation layer and serve layer, and we have like the other what we have the other layers like the horizontal layers like the data security, data governance. So really we like taking that the Purview advantage and configuring our environment. It will be easy and like make sure that everything's working fine. Right. Why should why we should govern the Microsoft Fabric? What is the necessity? That's the very questions we need to answer about that. Why we should govern the Microsoft Fabric? Because all the data is there. What is the point? Because there are a number of points are there, but I picked up just high level stuff. That is to ensure the data quality. That's very important because the consistency and accuracy is an important factor to analyze the data furthermore. And standardization. That's very important. If your data is not standardization, what happens? You're not able to do anything because unnecessary like the data will be like up and down, and so that it's data break or whatever it is. So we couldn't understand and we couldn't get the insight from that data. That's very important. So we have to ensure that standardization and consistency and accuracy of the data, so that as a first step, foremost step, we have the data is available. And the second one, we need to give the data security. That's very important. Access control and data protection. That is very important. So that's why we are bringing that's a governance. Along with that, who's supposed to access? What's supposed to access? That's example. Because most of the industries, what they are doing, directly that they're loading the data into the data platform and started building that capability and inciting that doing the data driven applications or downstream applications. They're doing a lot of things. But we have to enhance, because whenever I'm going to any customer, so first and foremost thing, my question would be, do you have data security, data quality, and data governance in the place or not? Why? Because the rest of the things it will be available, because the data will available. We can take the data and we can do all the operations. That's fine. But if the governance is not existing in that place, we have to bring that in the table so that the customer can understand the importance, the significance, and the importance of the data, how it is like really helping them to enhance the business and security. That's very important. So this governance mean things helping access control and data protection. Data should be protected. Actually, when we're dealing with the normal like Azure data transformation during the transit or in rest something, so we have inbuilt features. But on top of that, we have to put like some data protection perspective. We need to take some actions on that. That's very important. And coming to that, regulatory compliance, adherence the law and regulation. That's very important. See, when you're implementing any data governance, the governance perspective, we have to come up with a set of rules and regulation specific to the business. So the specific to the business means, so we have to mention that the CEO level and the higher middle level management, senior level management, middle level management, and lower level management, and then the workers and the shop level, like shop level employees. Like I mean, I'm imaging manufacturing related stuff. So all these employees, they're focusing on the data, but their accessibility is supposed to be understood well throughout the stream. That's very important. So in that perspective, we need to extract that the specific the law and rules and regulations, and we need to adhere with that. And the same way, we should have the regular auditability. So we need to auditability because once the governance implemented.
The conference.
Sorry.
Why?
Right. So auditability is very important thing. We should have a regular audit on that. That's very important. And facilitating data governance and management, it's really important to understand the data lineage and traceability, because the data lineage and traceability is an important factor so that we can understand how the data has been transformed throughout the life cycle when it's coming to the as a raw data into the golden data set. That's very important. And policy enforcement, basically like what kind of the business rules we need to implement, all those things we can derive on that. That's a very important thing. All right. So we understood like what exactly the governance should do. So if you're bringing all those things in the Purview, we can do that. So ultimately, what is the benefit out of that? That is enabling a better decision making. Of course, once if you fine tuning the data, accuracy in the data, and you have adapting the policies, regulations, everything, ultimately, it enables the better decision making from to a data set. That's very important. And same time, reducing the risk, because if your accessing has been like a properly aligned, so that it mitigating the data breaches as well as the risk management aspects, so it will give a lot of benefits. And same time, so maximize the return of investment and efficient use of resource, because we are going to utilize the resources effectively, and operational efficiency also improved very well. That's the main high level outcome of the governance implementation. So next a few things going to be very simple. So I'm not going to take much time bigger because actually the given time is more than enough for me, I guess. So Microsoft Purview provides a comprehensive data governance solution that integrates seamlessly Microsoft Fabric. It's a simple way. So here I'm attaching that document. So probably I'll share with that because it's internally there are a lot of steps are there. I don't want to go through that. Even I couldn't share my screen and go through that because of like my subscription, everything I couldn't hide over here. That's the reason. So here the main objective, the steps from the scratch means, so we have to access and configure the Microsoft Purview and connect with the Microsoft Fabric data source and scan and classify the given data and build and manage the data catalog appropriately, define and enforce the governance policies inch by inch, and monitor compliance and data lineage. That's very important thing. And train user and review governance practice. That is very important thing. So all this, the inner steps I've given here, because I cannot go, if I started doing that, it will take more than 30-40 minutes for me. So that I'll attach this, probably like you can get it from the organizer. So you can practice by your own. That is very important thing. So once I did all the steps, the 7 steps, and literally we have a sub steps, obviously, if you work with that. So your complete setup will be get ready. So once your complete setup will be ready, so here the easy way to go and see all the what is it like the facts, like what exactly how many data sets are there, how many pipelines are there, what are the things are like all the items and the dashboard list, what are the things we can have easily we can do that. So for this simple steps to access this, so you have the setup in Microsoft Purview Hub Preview. So once you click on this, then the first this is the first generation insights. So once you click on that, so it will take you to the specific screen. This specific screen will give out all the information about like what are the standard Microsoft Purview catalog and information protection, everything. So once you selected the options, so it takes you to the ultimately all this kind of the visualization. This visualization really helps you to understand the list of fabric items and what is the endorsed item in the workspace and item by workspace, etc. So if you look at this, here, so this will give the exact the set of like how many data sets are available and how many reports are available. What are the notebooks? That's on the Jupyter notebook and data flow and data pipeline, Lagos details and SQL endpoint, data flow Gen 2, all the information and so on. So what are the components which is available in that in your fabric? So it will extract the details and will give the precise output in the form of picture representation. So this will help you to understand what exactly how your fabric are connected and how this implementation is done will be very easy. So there are the two things. If you are as a normal user, you will get this kind of output. If you're going to be a super user admin, I think if you are joining as an admin, then your level of interaction would be a bit high level. So you can have like the two different views, that is a future usage adoption and future user adoption, like a semantic model and reporting model. I'm not going to show the both cases, just I'm showing this model. So here, this will give the holistic way of the presentation. For example, if I'm as admin, I can see through the entire that the things are published in the environment, right? So that will give the active workspaces, how many active workspaces, how many total items are there, and how many active, how many items are active, how many items are inactive with respect to this. So we'll get all the details. And if you have a features of like, you can filter out like selecting by the item type. The item type could be like this kind of data set, report, notebook, whatever you want. You can filter out and based on the workspace name, because everything is like pertaining with workspaces, right? So that way it will like filtering all the things by your workspaces. And same time, you can make it sure that like whether you want to active status or inactive things. So based on the filter ways, it will be give the precise output. So why this is required? For example, if you're going for the governance meeting on regular basis, so you're supposed to bring out all this report along with you, and you can make sure that how you guys are implementing all those stuff, right? So such a way we can implement this very straightforward. And it provides amazing way of like the mapping stuff. So the items which is connected with the what workspaces, so the elaborated way. So if you click on that, then you can get the expanded way of what is the detail of other details as well. And it shows completely the 468 items, like how they're mapping with the different workspaces. So that level actually we can drill down, we can extract the details, and we can understand how this has been configured, all the information. But this is actually the way to like how it is internally connected that way. And the other one, this one actually the admin point of view, the overall status of the individual. This could be the workspace name level and type level as an admin. So that is the main features with respect to the both of things. That's a very important thing. And at the same time, we have the other way around, like the how many data set we have and how many table, how many number of this are labeled. And same way, here we have a reports notebook. So we can have see it in the form of what bar chart format. So you can click on that, you can expand, like you can understand the detail about what exactly, like it's giving a detail about individual data set, like what are the different data set it has, like even you can fine tune that. So that way we can have more collaborative work with Power BI and which is what Fabric, which is interconnected with a simple configuration. The configuration perspective is like straightforward, right? So easily configure, and you can get that the overall view how the fabric is performing and how this is working, so that you will get the high level stuff and drill down information. Also, we can get it down that. So I just quickly finish this one. So because as I said mentioned earlier, so this one much time for me. So if you have any questions, you can ask me, or you can proceed with that.
Thank you so much for your session. Yeah, I had one question in the chat window actually for you. is it possible to see any kind of lineage and report dependencies on type of, okay, this report is using these databases or this database is using these reports in my Fabric environment? Is that possible to see that kind of overview?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, yes, we can do that. Yeah.
And do you have any idea how and where is it possible? Like, is it available out of the box in the report, or do you have to create some special
Yeah, we
custom
have to
report?
do customization. Actually, see, as a so based on the project demands, we can do this a lot of configuration. We can bring that things like in our upfront, like since we have facilities of that. Yeah, we can do that, but we need to do the configuration of that.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your session today. If nobody has any questions, we'll wait till 5:30 to begin our next session. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.